The assembly hall was a battlefield. Students shouted, teachers argued, and the principal banged the table in vain. Silence. Order, he roared, but the scandal Cynthia unleashed was bigger than anything Prestige High had ever seen. Chike stood frozen, staring at the projected headlines, fraud suspect declared wanted. His legs felt weak, shame crashing over him like a tidal wave. Amaka clutched his arm tightly. This doesn't change who you are, she whispered desperately. But her words were drowned out by the jeers. Fraud boy. Like father, like son. Cynthia's laughter rose above them all. For the first time, it seemed Amaka and Chike's love couldn't survive the weight of disgrace. After the chaos, Chike didn't return to class. He disappeared. Amaka searched frantically until she found him at his corn stand, sitting silently beside his mother. The woman's face was lined with grief, her hands trembling as she peeled roasted corn. Amaka, it's true, she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. Chike's father was accused years ago. He ran from the law, and I never saw him again. I raised my son alone, praying his father's sins wouldn't stain him. But now, her voice broke. Chike gripped her hand, his face burning with shame. Mama, I'm not him. I'll never be him. Amaka knelt beside them, her voice fierce. We will prove it. We'll clear his name. Cynthia won't win. Back at the hostel, the queens were no longer united. Bimbo paced the room, her nerves frayed. Cynthia, this is too much. You've dragged the boy's family into this. Toke nodded, her eyes full of guilt. You're destroying innocent people. This isn't power, Cynthia, it's evil. Cynthia's glare was sharp enough to cut glass. Shut up. You think people care about innocence? Power is all that matters. And I'm still the only one here who has it. She leaned close, her voice like venom. Cross me again, and you'll regret it. Bimbo's lip quivered, but for the first time, neither she nor Toke bowed. A storm was brewing inside the once mighty queens. The next day, Amaka walked through the school corridors with her head high, though whispers and insults followed her like shadows. Fraud girl. Corn boy's girlfriend. The label stung, but her heart burned hotter than her fear. She cornered Toke near the lockers. Help me, Amaka said firmly. You know Cynthia's secrets. If we gather enough proof, we can not only clear Chike's name but also expose her once and for all. Toke hesitated, trembling. If she finds out, Amaka cut her off. She already destroyed us. You can either let her win, or you can finally fight back. Toke's eyes darted around, but she gave a small, shaky nod. The tide was beginning to turn. Cynthia wasn't done. If Amaka wanted war, she would give her one. Late that evening, she arranged a meeting with a group of notorious boys from outside the school, street hustlers who owed her favors. I want her destroyed, Cynthia hissed. Amaka. Chike. Anyone who stands with them. The boys grinned wickedly. Consider it done. By the time we're finished, nobody will dare mention their names again. Cynthia's lips curled into a satisfied smile. She had humiliated them in the hall, but now she was ready to crush them completely. Amaka and Chike had just begun to fight for truth, but Cynthia's deadliest strike was already on its way, and this time, it wasn't just reputations at risk. The next morning, Prestige High buzzed with an unusual tension. Students whispered about strange faces lurking near the school gates, rough-looking young men leaning against motorbikes, their eyes scanning the compound like predators. Amaka noticed them first. Her stomach twisted as one of the boys smirked at her, flashing a gold tooth. She hurried past, but their laughter followed. Inside, Chike caught her arm. Don't look back, he warned. They are here for us. Amaka's heart raced. Cynthia's plan had moved beyond rumors and humiliation, she had brought danger into their very walls. it happened during lunch. The queens strutted in as usual, Cynthia leading the pack, her head high. Suddenly, 3 of the street thugs stormed through the doors, scattering trays and screaming insults. "Where's the fraud boy?" one shouted, eyes scanning the terrified students. Chike stood, his fist clenched, ready to defend himself. Before they could reach him, Amaka stepped forward. "Leave him alone," she cried, her voice trembling but defiant. The thugs laughed. "So this is the girl? The queen who fell for poverty love." One shoved her hard, and the cafeteria erupted in chaos. Teachers rushed in, whistles blowing, but the damage was done, the message was clear. Cynthia's reach was deadly. That evening, Bimbo couldn't take it anymore. She barged into Cynthia's room, her voice shaking with rage. "Are you insane? Bringing thugs into school? Someone could have been hurt." Cynthia smirked, brushing her wig. "Relax. They only came to scare them. Fear is the best teacher." But Bimbo snapped. "This isn't power anymore, Cynthia, it's madness." Toke, sitting silently in the corner, finally nodded. "She's right. You're destroying lives, not protecting our throne." Cynthia's eyes blazed, her voice sharp as a whip. "If you're not with me, you're against me. And traitors don't last long." The room fell into icy silence. Bimbo's loyalty had cracked beyond repair. The next day, the principal stormed into assembly, his face thunderous. "Prestige High is not a battlefield," he roared. "Bringing outsiders to intimidate our students is a crime. If anyone here is found responsible, expulsion will be the least of their worries." His eyes swept the hall, lingering on Cynthia. Cynthia only smirked, her mask flawless. But for the first time, murmurs spread openly among the students. Some whispered about her sugar daddy. Others hinted she was behind the chaos. Amaka watched carefully. Cynthia's empire was still standing, but the foundation was cracking fast. If they pushed harder, it would collapse. That evening, Amaka found Bimbo waiting by the back of the hostel, her face pale but determined. "I can't do this anymore," Bimbo whispered. "Cynthia has lost her mind. If you want to fight her, I'll help you." Amaka's eyes widened. "Are you serious?" "Yes. I know her moves, her contacts, even where she keeps her flash drive. But if she finds out I betrayed her," her voice shook. Amaka squeezed her hand. "You won't stand alone. With you, me, Chike, and Toke, we can end this." In the shadows of Prestige High, a new alliance was born, an alliance strong enough to bring down the last queen standing. But Cynthia's vengeance was far from over. Amaka, Chike, Bimbo, and Toke met in the abandoned science lab after lights out. The flicker of a single candle lit their nervous faces. For the first time, enemies sat side by side as allies. Bimbo broke the silence. "Cynthia keeps everything on her flash drive, messages, videos, even names of her contacts. If we can get it, she's finished." Toke nodded, her voice shaking. "She hides it in her dormitory, inside her wig box. I've seen her take it out at night." Amaka's eyes burned with determination. "Then that's our target. Once we have proof, we'll expose her to the whole school, the principal, even her parents. She won't escape this time." Chike nodded. "But we have to be careful. If she catches us, she won't hesitate to destroy us all." Later that night, Toke couldn't sleep. She sat on her bunk, staring at the ceiling, guilt gnawing at her heart. What if Cynthia finds out? What if she hurts us? She whispered. Bimbo turned to her, eyes fierce. She already hurt us. She nearly ruined Chike's future, she dragged outsiders into our school, and she uses a married man to fuel her pride. Enough is enough, Toke. For the first time, Toke nodded firmly, her fear giving way to resolve. The queens were no more, only survivors fighting to reclaim their dignity. Meanwhile, Cynthia grew restless. She could feel the shift in the air, students avoided her, whispers followed her, and even Bimbo and Toke barely looked at her anymore. She stared at her reflection in the mirror, her crown of false confidence slipping. "They think they can turn against me," she muttered. Her fingers traced the flash drive hidden in her wig box. "They don't know who they are dealing with." She clenched her jaw. "If they want war, I give them a war they'll never forget." Amaka and Bimbo made their first move during lunch break. While Chike distracted students with a heated debate near the cafeteria, Amaka and Bimbo slipped into Cynthia's dorm room. Their hearts raced as they dug through her belongings, shoes, clothes, bags. Finally, Bimbo lifted the wig box. "There," she whispered, hands trembling. But before they could open it, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Cynthia's voice carried closer, sharp and mocking. "You think you can hide from me, Toke? Answer me." Amaka froze. They had only seconds. She shoved the wig box back in place, grabbed Bimbo's hand, and they slipped out through the window just as Cynthia entered. Breathless, Amaka and Bimbo regrouped with Chike and Toke behind the school fence. The near miss had rattled them, but it also steeled their resolve. "Next time, we won't fail," Amaka declared. Chike looked at each of them, his eyes blazing. "If we do this, there's no turning back. Cynthia won't forgive us. We'll either end her reign completely, or she'll end us." They joined hands under the dim moonlight. Amaka's voice rang firm, "For truth. For freedom. For love. We fight together." The alliance was forged in fire, but Cynthia's paranoia meant she was watching closer than ever. The final showdown was inevitable. Cynthia's paranoia reached fever pitch. She barely slept, clutching her flash drive as if it were her crown. Even in class, her eyes darted constantly, scanning for betrayal. Students whispered louder now, some mocking her, others fearing her wrath. That afternoon, during break, she cornered Toke in the hallway. "I know you've been talking," Cynthia hissed, her nails digging into Toke's arm. "Don't think I won't crush you." Toke trembled but managed to whisper, "You're losing, Cynthia. Everyone sees it." Cynthia's eyes blazed. "Then I'll remind them who I am." The alliance knew they couldn't wait any longer. Amaka laid out the plan in hushed tones. "Tomorrow, during sports practice, Cynthia will be outside. That's our chance to strike. Bimbo and I will get the flash drive. Toke, you'll cover us. Chike, be ready to copy everything as soon as we have it." Chike nodded, though worry lined his face. "If she catches us," Amaka met his gaze. "Then it ends today, one way or another." Their hands tightened together. This wasn't just about exposing Cynthia anymore. It was about ending her reign forever. The next day, the plan swung into motion. Cynthia strutted across the sports field, backing orders at juniors like a general, completely unaware of the silent war brewing. Meanwhile, Amaka and Bimbo slipped into her dorm room, their breaths shallow. They tore through her belongings until Bimbo lifted the wig box with trembling hands. "Here." She flipped it open, and there it was. The flash drive. Amaka snatched it, her heart hammering. "Let's go." But just as they turned, the door creaked. Cynthia's shadow fell across the room. "What do we have here?" Cynthia's voice dripped venom as she stepped inside, her eyes locked on the flash drive clutched in Amaka's fist. Her laughter filled the room. "You really thought you could steal from me?" Before Amaka could speak, Cynthia lunged, knocking the box from Bimbo's hands. The room exploded into chaos, wigs, clothes, and shoes flying as they wrestled. "Traitors!" Cynthia screamed, clawing at Amaka's arm. Bimbo shoved her back, shouting, "It's over, Cynthia. But Cynthia's strength was fueled by fury, and she wasn't letting go. The struggle ended with Amaka shoving Cynthia hard against the bed, buying just enough time to bolt. She and Bimbo sprinted down the hall, Cynthia's screams echoing behind them. "You can't run from me. I'll destroy you all." They burst outside, gasping for air, clutching the flash drive like stolen treasure. Chike and Toke were waiting under the mango tree. Amaka handed him the drive, her hands shaking. "Copy everything. Tonight." Chike nodded grimly, sliding it into his laptop. But across the courtyard, Cynthia watched them from the shadows, her face twisted with rage. She wasn't broken yet. If they wanted war, she would fight until the last breath. That night, Chike's fingers flew across his laptop keyboard, copying files from Cynthia's flash drive. Amaka, Bimbo, and Toke leaned in, their eyes widening as documents and videos appeared. Evidence of bribes, cheating scandals, even Cynthia's messages arranging her sugar daddy's visits. This is enough to bury her forever," Bimbo whispered, stunned. Amaka's chest tightened. "Tomorrow, we take it to the principal. No more hiding. Cynthia ends now." Chike nodded firmly. "But be ready, she won't go down without a fight." The next morning, whispers filled the air as Amaka and her allies marched into the principal's office with the flash drive. The principal's stern face softened as he watched the damning evidence on screen. "So this is the truth," he muttered, shaking his head. "Cynthia has disgraced this school beyond measure." He looked at Amaka. "We'll call a full assembly this afternoon. This cannot be hidden." Amaka's heart pounded. It was finally happening, the truth would shine. But outside, Cynthia paced like a trapped lioness, sensing her empire was seconds from crumbling. By afternoon, the hall was packed once again. Students murmured nervously, teachers whispered among themselves. Cynthia strutted in, her chin high, masking the storm inside her. Amaka stood on the stage beside the principal, trembling but determined. The principal cleared his throat. "Evidence has been presented against one of our senior students. Videos. Documents. Proof of corruption and misconduct." Gasps rippled through the crowd as Cynthia's secrets flashed on the projector, her messages, her bribes, even her sugar daddy's car waiting outside the school gates. "Lies!" Cynthia screamed, her face red. "All of this is fake. Amaka forged it." But the hall was no longer hers. The whispers turned into shouts, "Shame! Disgrace! Queen of trouble!" Cornered, Cynthia's mask shattered. Her laughter was wild, desperate. "You think this makes you saints? All of you are hypocrites. I may have sins, but so do your precious teachers, your parents, even you." She pulled out her phone. "I still have recordings. Secrets. If I fall, I'll drag everyone down with me." The hall froze. Fear rippled through the crowd. Teachers paled, students exchanged uneasy glances. Cynthia's voice rose higher. "You never destroy me, I'm bigger than this school." For a moment, it seemed she might win through sheer madness. Then, Toke stepped forward, her voice shaking but loud enough to cut through the chaos. "No, Cynthia. You've already destroyed yourself." All eyes turned. Tears streamed down Toke's face as she confessed, "We lied about Chike. We planted the exam papers because Cynthia told us to. She made us betray our friends, our school, even ourselves. I can't carry this anymore." The hall erupted in gasps. Bimbo stepped beside her, nodding through tears. "It's true. She controlled us. But we're done being her slaves." Cynthia's face twisted in horror as the last of her allies turned against her. The empire of the queens collapsed in front of the entire school. Cynthia's scream echoed through the hall as she lunged for Amaka. Teachers rushed to hold her back. The once mighty queen was reduced to chaos, and her reign was over. But the final lesson was still to come. The hall was still ringing with Toke's confession when Cynthia snapped. Her scream tore through the silence as she broke free from the teachers restraining her and lunged at Amaka. "You ruined me," she shrieked, her nails clawing wildly. Students scattered, teachers rushed forward, but Cynthia fought like a cornered animal. Amaka stumbled back, her heart pounding, but she didn't break. She stood her ground. "You ruined yourself, Cynthia. Your lies, your greed, they destroyed you." Cynthia froze, her chest heaving, eyes bloodshot. For the first time, she looked less like a queen and more like a broken girl. But the hatred in her eyes hadn't dimmed, it burned hotter than ever. After the chaos, the principal dismissed the assembly. But Cynthia's revelation about Chike's father still haunted everyone. The whispers refused to die, fraudster's son. Maybe the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Even with Cynthia disgraced, the stigma lingered. That evening, Amaka visited Chike. She found him sitting outside his home, staring into the night. "They'll never let me forget," he muttered bitterly. "Even if Cynthia is gone, my father's shadow will follow me forever." Amaka knelt beside him, gripping his hand. "Then we fight the shadow too. Together." Her voice was steady, but inside, she feared the battle ahead. Determined to clear Chike's name, Amaka, Bimbo, and Toke dug into Cynthia's flash drive again. Hidden among her files was correspondence between Cynthia's sugar daddy and a lawyer, letters that mentioned Chike's father. After hours of piecing together the truth, they found it: Chike's father had been falsely accused by corrupt businessmen. He wasn't a fraudster, he was a scapegoat. The discovery sent shockwaves through the group. "This changes everything," Amaka whispered. "We can prove his innocence." Chike's eyes filled with tears for the first time. "After all these years, my father wasn't guilty." Amaka nodded, determination blazing in her chest. "Tomorrow, the whole truth comes out." Cynthia's reign was over, but now the real battle began, redeeming a family name that had been buried in shame for years. The principal called a final assembly, this time not for judgment, but for closure. The air was heavy with anticipation, everyone knew this was the end of an era for Prestige High. Amaka stood at the podium, her hands trembling slightly as she held up Cynthia's flash drive. "Cynthia tried to use this to destroy us," she began, her voice steady, "but inside, we found more than her crimes. We found the truth." She clicked play, and the projector lit up with documents and emails from lawyers and businessmen, proving Chike's father had been falsely accused. Gasps filled the hall as the evidence unfolded. Chike sat at the front, tears welling in his eyes as his mother clutched his hand. For years, they had carried shame that was never theirs to bear. And now, before the entire school, their honor was restored. The hall was silent until, slowly, one teacher began to clap. Then another. Soon the entire hall erupted in thunderous applause. "Innocent! Justice!" Students shouted. Chike rose, his chest heaving, and for the first time, he smiled without fear. The shadow of his father's name had finally lifted. But the finale wasn't complete without Cynthia's fate. She sat slumped at the back of the hall, her once immaculate wig askew, her face streaked with tears and fury. The principal's voice was heavy as he spoke. "Cynthia, your actions have disgraced this school, your friends, and yourself. You will no longer remain a student of Prestige High." Her scream echoed through the hall, but no one rose to defend her. Even Bimbo and Toke turned away, their faces filled with regret but also relief. Cynthia stormed out, her crown shattered, her empire reduced to ashes. Amaka turned to Chike, her voice breaking. "We made it." Chike pulled her close, whispering, "Not because of me. Because of us. Because you never gave up." Tears streamed down their faces as the hall erupted in cheers once more. The final bell rang, and as the students filed out, the air felt lighter, freer. Prestige High had changed forever. Bimbo and Toke approached Amaka, tears in their eyes. "Thank you," Bimbo whispered. "For saving us too." Amaka hugged them both. The queens were no more, but from the ashes rose something truer: friendship, love, and dignity. As the sun set behind the school gates, Chike sowed his last roasted corn of the day, with Amaka by his side, laughter bubbling between them. The glamour of quick money had faded, but in its place was something brighter, stronger, eternal. Prestige High would never forget the fall of its queens. And Amaka would never forget the lesson that guided her life forever: quick money fades, but true love lasts.